All right, we've got 11 games coming our way on tonight's NBA slate, and 3 analysts here to help us make sense of it. DraftKings contributors Nick Friar, Garion, Thorne, and Julian Edlow.
Yeah, NBA building blocks time. Who are your favorite DFS plays at the following positions on tonight's slate? Start us off with your favorite play at center, Nick.
At center, I like Robert Williams tonight, but I know he's questionable with left knee tendinopathy. So, and there was sharp pain last game, so he came out early. That could be problematic. So I think that LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be a safer play. Of course, only at 5K going up against the Cavs. There are some good high price options at this spot too. I know Julius Randle. I like that game tonight, even though that is a lower point total. But LaMarcus Aldridge just sat out the first half against the Warriors, and it was for tactical reasons. Of course, that's a team that doesn't give a whole lot up against centers. So he's one of the more rested guys coming in off a back-to-back, or now on the second leg of a back-to-back. And the Cavs led up a fair amount of fantasy points to opposing centers, and they don't have Mobley or Allen tonight. So I think it makes a big difference. As much as Kevin Love reportedly may be on his way back for this game, I still like Aldridge a lot in this one.
Gare Bear, who you like at the 5, dude?
I'm going to go with DeAndre 8. Honestly, this season, Dallas might be the best matchup an opposing center can draw. They're giving up the most DraftKings points per game to opposing centers. In the last 2 weeks alone, we've seen Nikola Jokic, Jonas Valanciunas, Nikola Vucevic. The aforementioned Robert Williams had a pretty good game against the Mavericks. They just bleed fantasy points to centers because they're giving up the 5th most points per game in the paint and the 4th most opponent rebounds per 100 possessions so far this season. There's no Frank Kaminsky tonight, so maybe Ayton gets a couple extra minutes, but he looked good coming off that 2-week absence in his last game, played 33 minutes. I think he's 100%, and I think $6,200, which is the lowest price point we've seen him at so far this season, is a steal to get someone who has 50 DraftKings point upside.
Wow, good morning, Julian Edlow. Please hook us up with your building block at center.
Good morning, Emerson. I like a lot of the guys that these dudes have already gone to. The Cleveland-Brooklyn matchup intrigues me the most, that Nick kind of talked about, because I would love to use some Cavs value here at center with Mobley and Allen out. But you look and there's nothing unless you want to trust Kevin Love, coming out of nowhere to play in this game. Like, who knows how much he's going to play? Who knows if Cleveland gets blown out? So I can't go there. I do like going to the Brooklyn side because Cleveland has literally nobody to defend it. But these guys touched on the spots I'm interested in, so I'll just throw out the cheap chalky name, and that's Tony Bradley, 3,300. A little bit of a tougher matchup against Portland, who has the size in Nurk down low. But without Vooch on the floor for the Bulls are still clicking. They're a side that I like a lot in this game from a sportsbook perspective. But 24 minutes, 27 minutes the last 2 games for Bradley. He hasn't done anything, 17 DraftKings points last game. But it seems like your floor is 5X here, and you hope he has a good game and you get the 25 DraftKings points.
All right, how about your favorite play at forward, Garion? Who are you going with here?
Let's talk some Anthony Edwards. This guy is just volume. Like, you don't have to worry about him getting up enough shots tonight. You don't have to worry about him getting up enough touches. He's just going to be on the court seemingly all the time. In fact, Edwards actually leads all Western Conference players in minutes played per game so far this season, well up above 36. They just really like to run this guy into the ground. And again, he's not afraid to shoot. His shot hasn't been falling the past 3 games, but you always have to be impressed with the field goal volume that he brings. And even with his shot struggling lately, he's collected double-digit rebounds in each of his last 2 games. So he's shown the ability to really touch on all categories. He's not just a scoring-dependent player. But this is the highest total game on this slate. These 2 teams, Minnesota and Sacramento, are 2 of the 10 in basketball who average more than 100 possessions per 48 minutes. So you're probably going to get a nice pace to this contest as well. I think it will be the highest scoring game of the night, and I just want a piece of it somehow. And I think Edwards, like I said, is probably the best way to get there because he is just pure volume.
All right, Jules, when you're looking at this slate, which forward stands out to you?
Yeah, I like Edwards a lot. Another guy that has been pure volume for 1 full game is Cedi Osman for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Took 17 shots, made 10 of them. I don't think he's going to shoot 6 of 12 from downtown again like he did against the Celtics on Monday night when he scored 43 DraftKings points. But I just mentioned I want a center for the Cavs with the Mobley Allen situation, but there literally isn't one. So I will just go to the forward position and use it there. Osman's going to be severely undersized, to go up against some of the guys that he goes up against in this game. But he's going to be on the floor because Cleveland just doesn't have any other options. And if Kevin Love is eased back in, if he plays in this game, there's only so much he can do. So I think Osman, just based on volume, and Isaac Okoro is a good young player in a good spot coming back here. He finally pieced together a good game on Monday night. He's looking like a pretty popular play on this slate. You can play both of them if you want, but I prefer Osman here. I think he's in a spot where he's just not going to be shy and get up a lot of shots in this game against Brooklyn.
All right, Nick, who are you rolling with?
When you look over on DraftKings and you look at the power forward position, you're going to see that the Blazers are one of the better teams against defensively against power forwards. DeMar DeRozan, of course, lines up at power forward for the Bulls, but he's still a small forward when it comes to his skill set, as much as he doesn't stretch the floor as most wings in the league. And that's the guy who I'm going to go with tonight. I think that does make Levine a good pick too, because the Blazers are as good against small forwards as they are against power forwards. But I like DeRozan ultimately because when you look at it, he's going to have a mismatch tonight defensively. They're more equipped at guarding, stereotypical power forwards, and that is not DeRozan at all. So I think right now, with the Blazers too, I know they've won 2 of their last 3 games, but it's been against bad teams. They really don't have many quality wins this season, and the ones that they do have came earlier in the year. And DeRozan, with Vucevic out too, there are still a lot of extra points to be had. So I think DeRozan's one of those higher priced guys you got to go with tonight.
Talk to me about who you're going with at guard, Jules.
Yeah, I'm going to the obvious spot. We got no Luka on the slate, so that brings up all the Dallas names. And nobody went to Porzingis at forward, which is somewhat surprising. But yeah, it's chalk. I don't even know which one you want to say is a better play between Brunson and Tim Hardaway Jr. You're either going to the volume of getting the ball with Brunson and taking over that point guard role that Doncic has, or the guy that should pick up the more of the scoring load in Tim Hardaway. So, as a sizable dog here in Phoenix, I kind of look to Dallas needing more of the scoring and Tim Hardaway getting up those shots. So, and he's a little bit cheaper. So I'll look at Tim Hardaway here, who has already gone over 30 DraftKings points in 3 of his last 4 games. We know he's not shy, and the one that he missed, he shot 2 of 11 from the field. So the shots are going to be going up, particularly without Doncic here. The only downside here is really if Dallas just gets mopped by Phoenix, like kind of if you played some Philly guys last night in Utah, it didn't work out for you. So as long as they avoid that, I don't see how Tim Hardaway doesn't get a whole lot of volume and flirt with the 40 DraftKings point mark here.
Hey, Nick, would you be okay eating the chalk on Brunson?
Yeah, I would, but when I'm looking at my favorite guard play tonight, I'm actually going to go to one of the games with one of the lower totals at 209, and that's the Knicks Magic game, and I'm going to go with Cole Anthony at 7.9K. I know when you look at the Knicks, they're not necessarily the best team in terms of pace, so that doesn't help Anthony, but he did just have over 40 DK fantasy points against the Wizards 2 games ago, and they're very similar in pace. The Knicks actually are like a tick ahead of them. And then with Anthony too, in his last 2 games where he's done really well, he's been distributing the ball a little bit more so than he had over in recent games, and that's where we've seen a little bit of fluctuation with him recently. So when I look at this, I do think that we're going to see the over on this one tonight. It's not my favorite pick on the sports book tonight, but I think that with Anthony, he's going to be one leading the charge and of course running the offense the whole time.
All right, Gary, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the well with Tyler Hero one more time. Obviously, you have to wait and see if Jimmy Butler's going to play in this game. If he's in there, Hero's salary has risen far too high where you can actually use him on this slate. But at 7,500, if Butler's unavailable, we've just seen what Hero's role is going to be if Jimmy can't take the court. In the 4 games he's played with Jimmy sidelined, I think Butler played like 10 minutes in that Lakers game before he left due to injury, but Hero has a 30.2% usage rate. That leads the Heat. He's played more minutes than any other Heat player in that 4-game span. He is just the focal point of the offense. He is the number 1 option when Jimmy is not out there. So I think against a Pelicans squad that is anemic at best on defense, worst defensive rating in the entire NBA, I think the only thing you have to worry about here, and Jules sort of alluded to it earlier in another spot, is there blowout potential? Will Tyler Hero actually have to play 36 to 39 minutes tonight, or can he play 27 minutes and sit the 4th quarter? But that's really the only worry I have.
Okay, before we let you guys go, what's your best play of the night for the NBA on the DK Sportsbook? Where are you going, Nick?
Yeah, I talked about the Bulls game earlier, and I think Bulls money line tonight against the Blazers. I was stunned to see them as the underdogs in this game. I know they're on the latter half of a West Coast trip. I said even money right now, but this again, the Blazers, they've only won. Most of their wins rather have come against not quality opponents. The last couple games that they won, 2 out of their last 3 were against the Raptors and then the Rockets. So these are not exactly teams that are intimidating to me. When you look at the spread too at +1.5, this is one of the best teams against the spread this season. The Bulls are 10-4. So to me, this was a no-brainer when I saw this one pop up. All
right, Garion, what's your best play of the night?
Well, Ayton's probably my favorite player of the night, so I'll just find a player prop I like. His rebound total is 10.5. It has been bet up a little bit. It's -130, but I still think that's a pretty fair number. This is a prop that he has gone over in each of his last 4 starts. I mentioned how much Dallas struggles defending the paint and the glass. I think he has very little issue getting there if he plays 30 minutes tonight.
All right, Jules, what do you think?
Yeah, Nick's on it with the Bulls. That's the only thing that I've locked in so far is the Bulls even money on the money line there in Portland. But I am looking to bet the Celtics tonight. I'm just not going to bet them until we get the Robert Williams news. If he's in, I'm going to go ahead and grab that 4.5 as quickly as I can. If he's out, I'm going to maybe look for a 5.5 and go there. But the Celtics they were very frustrating at the beginning of the season. They're now all of a sudden 6-1 against the spread in their last 7. And the Hawks are down a lot of wings. They have not been good against the spread. As long as this isn't a look-ahead spot to the Lakers at home on Friday night, I think that Boston's going to hang in this game.